Awakening, which is a term that's been used for thousands of years in the spiritual context, not in the conventional context. To awaken means to come out of sleep in the conventional language, terminology. But in spiritual terminology, to awaken means to awaken, one could say, basically to awaken out of the self-talk in the head. Because the self-talk in the head is a form of hypnosis, self-hypnosis. You are hypnotized, you have been hypnotized by society, your surroundings, the surrounding culture, even the language that you were taught to use, that becomes a large part of the self-talk, although some of the self-talk is also accompanied by images, but a lot of it is language. And all that, you've been conditioned, and this is gone, you are possessed by that, which is an energy formation, and humans are possessed by that and mistake that conditioned entity, which consists of thoughts. They're so trapped in it, they're so identified with it, they believe in every thought that comes into their head. It's absurd, but normal. Another word rather than absurd, I could say it's mad, but it's normal. It creates an incredible amount of suffering, unnecessary suffering that humans create for themselves and for others. You can't create suffering for yourself without making others suffer who are close to you and whoever comes into contact with you. An enormous amount of suffering is created by not realizing that a large percentage of your problems consist of self-talk in the head. That's amazing. And once you see that, okay, and then you can have a little bit of awareness and say, who am I? Am I that story, or am I the one who sees that, who recognizes there's self-talk? And in order to recognize that there's self-talk going on in you, that's not a thought, there's just an aware presence. And then the compulsive nature of self-talk lessens somewhat, because some awareness has come in. The light of awareness has come in, and then you realize you are that light of awareness. You are the awareness. And there's a shift. The head may not immediately stop. It'll want to carry on. The self-talk wants to carry on. There's a momentum to it. You can observe that momentum. If you can't do it in yourself, you can observe it in others. Once they have a story and they're telling you their story, they can't stop. They want to go on. They don't. And they don't want an end. If they're talking about their problems, they don't want an end to their problems. They want a continuation of the story, which is the problem. They don't know that. That's why we call it unconscious. They don't know that their primary thing is they want the continuation of the story, because that's the continuation of the fictitious person that cannot live without its story. So it becomes a habitual place, the habitual place of the mental noise, where you feel, that's me. And so as every therapist knows that you always reach a point with your clients, patients, whatever, depending on the school of therapy, depends whatever you call your clients, your patients, whatever. There comes a point when you hit that resistance. They don't want to be free of their problems. And that the big challenge is this person going to overcome that barrier? Because that barrier is not just becoming free of my problems, but also becoming free of a very limited and ultimately fictitious sense of identity.